do well with those two together because they complement.
All right, guys, I have junior guard Shea Chesky here.
Yeah.
Go ahead and raise your hand for questions for Shea.
Yeah.
Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, Shay, that fourth quarter, you held them without a field goal for like 8 minutes, held them scoreless, I think, for almost 7. In terms of what went wrong offensively, do you guys feel like you were settling too much, or what did you think kind of happened that you weren't able to kind of get closer than 6 points?
Yeah, I just think that we just didn't make our shots. A lot of us shooters, we weren't on tonight. Yeah. Sid 2 for 10, me 2 for 5 from the 3. As a whole, we just did not shoot very well. But that's the way basketball goes. Obviously we held them in the fourth quarter, but obviously we have to put two ends together, and we fell short offensively today.
Todd.
Shea, defensively, it was a little bit of a struggle today. What do you think Minnesota was doing to make that tough on you guys?
They had a lot of great players. Sophie Hart, post player. She got in the middle, buried us a few times, but defensively, I don't think we did a great job helping our post out. We could have got in there, dug, made it hard. But they're a great team. Minnesota's a great team. They got shooters on the outside, which made it hard for us to help down low a lot. Just how it went.
Seth.
Shea, what do you feel like led to the giant disparity on the glass tonight, and how tough does that make it when you're trying to come back in the game?
Sorry, say that again.
What do you feel like led to the big disparity on the glass with rebounding tonight, and how tough is that when you're trying to come back in a game?
No, that is tough. But coach says it a lot that rebounding has nothing to do with skill. It's how bad you want it. And obviously we did not want it tonight. We got out rebounded by what, 20, almost 20. So that comes on us as players, wanting it more, being more physical. And it seemed like we did in the fourth quarter, but it was too late for that at that point.
Do we have anything else for Shea?
Yeah,
Seth, do you have any?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
more. Shea, just maybe big picture, kind of what do you feel like has kind of been difficult as far as getting consistency for this team from game to game?
Man, it's the Big Ten. It's the most competitive conference in the country. So, it's going to be hard. Every night is going to be hard. But that's what happens when we're in the best conference, and we have to bring it every single game. And tonight we didn't. And, it's hard. You can't lose in the Big Ten. There's too many great teams, and, we have a tough schedule ahead of us in the whole month of February. So we just got to learn from this and win out.
All right. Thanks, Shea.
Disappointed that missed way too many layups today. Just didn't do enough defensively. When your shots aren't falling, as I told them, you have to be able to rely on something, right? Could we have been better screeners? Could we have hit layups? Could we have dug a little bit deeper, off of our player to help, with 52 at times? Could we have, supplied more ball pressure to make it harder for that ball to come inside? And I felt like there was probably, the third quarter was just a terrible quarter for us. There was about a 6-minute stretch where, we didn't have any fight. And then all of a sudden we decided we were going to fight. And then it's just too late. So, disappointed for a lot of reasons. Felt like we should have been so much better and could have been so much better. But, we weren't. Got out rebounded too. They killed us today on the boards.
Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, Terry, you mentioned kind of some of the stuff you'd like to see. In particular, you held them out at a field goal for 8 minutes in the fourth quarter, no points from almost 7. What would you have liked to see to kind of generate more offense? Did you feel like you were settling too much? during that stretch in particular, what would you have liked to see differently, I guess?
Well, I mean, Mike, as easy as or as elementary as it sounded, I would have liked to have seen the thing go in. There were minutes or moments where we over dribbled. I thought we got to the paint and then didn't really have any windows to kick out. We really wanted to try to get a piece of the paint, but the thought behind that was to play off of 2 feet and be able to kick out and find shooters beyond the arc. But we got in there and it was like we didn't have a plan. And I don't know. I have to go back and watch film and just see if there were no bodies available to kick out, or if we just didn't find them in enough time. And so again, Minnesota might have had a little bit to do with that, but to your point, I just didn't feel like we got anything that felt good, offensively. I mean, there was just no rhythm to anything that we did today. And again, the missed layups is just, you just can't do that. You can't do that on the road. Those are easy layups. And, I had counted, and I'm not tell you who, but at least, 2 kids had missed 2 wide open layups. And at least 3 of them missed at least 1 layup, right? And you lose the ball game by 10 points. And so, you got to be able to finish. And regardless if it's with contact, you still got to be able, especially when you're going with your strong hand. Chloe needs to be able to finish with her left hand at the rim. Regardless if there's contact, she gets hit, you got to be able to finish.
We'll go Todd.
Terry, rebounding, you mentioned it. Minnesota had an edge today. Your rebounding numbers over the season aren't good, but it hasn't really hurt you in that many games this year. There's been a couple here and there, but it hasn't been a chronic thing. What do you think it was today? Maybe was it the fact that they didn't allow you to create any second chances? Where do you kind of put that?
Well, again, we give up a couple to Hart and at the beginning of the game. I mean, she gets a couple offensive rebounds, with nobody in front of her, and that gives her confidence. She sees a few of those go down because we were doing a good enough job to guarding her one-on-one, and then we turn around and then not box her out. But I just thought that Minnesota did a great job of tracking down all those. They got to every 50-50 ball today. They got all of those. They got their hands on, if they didn't come up with it, they certainly got their hands on it and tipped it, right? And it just seemed like every time, there was a ball to be had or go get, it was just always, I felt like it was just them. And again, all of this has to travel. Your defense has to travel, your ability to rebound the ball. We knew that they're a great rebounding team. I mean, they get at least 14 points off of their second chance, and so that was an emphasis, as well as taking care of the basketball was an emphasis today because they turned people over. We did that, but they beat our rear ends on the boards, and that again is another very disappointing piece of this.
Seth, go ahead.
Yeah, Terry, I'd more on the rebounding. I mean, I asked Shay kind of what she thought, led to the big disparity. And she mentioned, something you say a lot, just that rebounding is not a skill thing. It's just who wants it more. And I mean, I guess it's just, is there any particular, added particular frustration? Obviously, sometimes you'll get, it'll go one way or the other, a few boards here, a few boards there. But when the disparity is this big, is there any particular frustration over that?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not happy, and those kids shouldn't be happy either. I mean, that was part of what we knew we had to do today, Seth. And you got to do it every night, right? It just can't show up on the nights that we play in the hall with all of our fans there. It has to show up on every stinking night, especially when you're on the road and you don't have the energy, right? That they play at. You have to be super special and do special things on the road. That sometimes show up in the stat sheet and sometimes don't, but you can't go into an environment like this or they're coming off of losing their last 3 games. And of course, I mean, they're desperate. They want to win, and so, and not that my team didn't want to win, but you have to be extra special, when you come on the road, in tracking those down. And would it feel good, that we were, maybe they out rebounded us by 1 or 2 and I just didn't feel like we fought. And that's what's disappointing. The discrepancy is that they kicked our rear ends. They kicked our butts. And all of us have to take a look at, ourselves, coaches, and we got to do a better job. And we got to be, they got to demand, we got to be more demanding. And those teammates, they got to be more demanding of one another. It just can't happen. You're not going to win games if you can't rebound the ball.
Seth, do you have anything else?
Yeah, just Terry, maybe big picture with this team. It started to feel like the last few games, maybe you guys were really starting to turn a corner and really start to settle into a groove here. And then, you come out and, have a game like today. Just what do you feel like has kind of been difficult as far as generating consistency from game to game with this group?
Seth, if I knew, boy, I'd fix it in a heartbeat. I would. We're veteran, we're old, from Chloe to Sid, Yarden, Shay. I mean, we're, our experience should be able to help us. And with the inconsistency, I wish I could figure it out, and I wish I could help them and say all the right things to them, but we're gonna keep doing what we're doing, and that's grinding it out with them and trying to help them, we need them. We need our players to because we know it's in them. We've shown that our ability to win after a tough loss at Oregon, to win at Washington. But again, I just wish we got to bottle up all that energy that we have when we're at home, and we got to bring it with us. And I don't know how to do that, but here's what I do know. I mean, good teams, win at home. Great teams win on the road, and we got to figure out how we can flip the script here down the stretch and try to steal some of these on the road.
All right. Thanks, Coach.